Alright, what we have here today is of special interest to Mac's story. This one's for you. I've got a set of header pipes for an 82 KZ 750, and they are for the most part good. They are level across the top, not heavily rusted, and in need of a little bit repair. A previous owner on a wild ride one day or multiple days dented the crap out of this. It's probably a ½ inch defect in the front of the bike. As you can see, that's the orientation. There's probably thousands of pipes out there on a motorcycle that have this on it, and if you don't have a grinder, cutting disc, welder, tamps, brushes, gloves, safety equipment, and all that stuff, you won't be able to fix your own pipes. You'll have to order a set of new pipes, and for the money covered the cost of all of the gear that I am going to use here today to remedy that. Face shield for obvious reasons, using a grinder so you're not wearing it on your face. I'm going to use this to pry open the pipe after I make my cuts. Tamps to tamp the defect back out best I can. I am not going for perfection, I'm going for functionality. Hammer to use with the tamp. A brush for the grinding disc. I'm going to clean up the area that I'm going to cut because I'm going to later weld it with my buzz box. And that's pretty much it. The cool part of this, and I like to have cool parts, is I think fixing this any other way than coming from the back is going to make it very hard. What I mean by that is, imagine it. If you work with metal, it's more helpful to understand. If I were to cut this open right here and use something to pull it down, not only would that be mostly frustrating, because I'm a maverick. I'm working out here, all this stuff on the ground. I don't even have a fancy work table. Moving on. Pulling this up wouldn't bring the edges anywhere close to where I would enjoy welding them up. And third, as a bonus, you weld a piece of metal over that. Yeah, it would work. It's extra work, but it is possible. That's the thing to understand if you were to do that. I've had the benefit of working in surgery and seeing a lot of cool techniques, and consider this kind of a orthopedic plastic surgery, okay? This is the third pipe. Flip this over. That dent is basically right behind this elbow. And what I intend to do is use my cutting wheel and make a cut low back here, and then cut one above, maybe. We'll see how that goes. Not everything I do is the way I want it to work out. Use the tamps through the defect in the back to push out the metal. That just makes sure when the engine's running that dent allows the exhaust the engineers determined should travel down that pipe. I don't know if there's an issue with that defect, but I know if I peck it out about 90-95% of the way, then a potential carb issue I have, a potential efficiency issue I have with my bike, if this is causing the problem, then I'm going to pick that out. So I eliminate that from adjusting any carbs or anything like that, so I'm not lean or rich. So I'll make my cuts like I described, and we'll see what happens to reveal the inside of the pipe to begin pecking that out. Okay? See you in a bit. went ahead and started at the base of this, on the inside of the elbow, like I talked about earlier. And the width of my cutting wheel is probably 4 millimeters, 4 or 5 millimeters. I opened it up with a screwdriver, pry bar. It really isn't that hard because that is probably a 1/16 of an inch, maybe 3/32. So I horsed that open, and we'll begin to peck out the dent from the inside. Let's see. The reason why I didn't cut in 2 different places is I think that would have been harder to work through 2 openings to peck this dent out. This, as bad as this looks, will go back together very nicely to be able to weld that shut. That obviously is going to happen down the road. Okay, now I will begin to tap out this dent. Let's see how that goes. Alright, now we're on the front. Choice of temp, the largest one. It's got a surface like that compared to what's back there pecking this out. Take your time. It's not a big deal if you come through it and you put a hole in it, whatever. You've got a welder. So you'll just tack that shut with a spot weld. Alright, it'd be a bit noisy, but you'll begin to see what happens as you work that out. The middle is beginning to come back out. I'm pretty much done hitting it here. I'm going to go for placing it about right here and bring out the bottom on that. Alright, you get the gist of that. It's basically like reverse sculpting. It's screwed up. It was made away before, and you're taking something and pushing it back out. I am going to continue to work on this, but there's no way on earth I'm going to film every ding. I'll let you see the final product. Here I was. This is the one that I was working on. I used the same size tamp the whole time. It's blind. It's kind of cumbersome putting the tamp over here and hammering from behind, so I would do like a pendulum thing where I'd look to see where I wanted to hit it, line it up, 5 tinks. This is the best view of a side profile following the 3rd pipe down. Not a bad job. Now that we've rounded out the underside, it's great. I love it. I'm totally ready to close this up. Ball peen hammer. Same thing I used to peck the dent out with. This is where you use a little bit of imagination. As I bring these two together, it's not only going to make a lot of noise, I'm not going to want it to go farther than where it was. Basically, by following this plane, use your imagination. Start to get going. Okay. Good. Now, you have something going on up here. Don't forget this. And I'll loosen this thing while I'm talking to you. It's not that hard, not that bad. Keep in mind this plane up here. We've screwed with the integrity of the pipe. We've cut it, we've hit it a lot. When it goes back on the motorcycle, after you've welded it, you better make darn sure that you have made sure this, see, I can move it now. It's weaker at the bottom. All you should have to do, you see how that's kind of in line right there as I pan around? Of course you do. It should be lined up. You have that plane, you have this way, and you have side to side. Do a dry fit. I think I am going to forego. There is so much welding repair videos online. I think I'm going to end this one here. That gap is no more than about a 1/16 of an inch at its widest part. I'm looking down here, maybe 3/32. If you wanted to, you could bang that together closer, but I have welded enough to know that when I start buzzing that close, bzz, 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 careful you don't burn through. It's just thinner metal, but I've got the perfect machine for that. Close that off, grind it off, paint it a lovely color, and you're done. Like I said, your alignment when it goes back on is key to happiness.